What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. We are back here with another individual episode today. Your host, Dillon Schroeder. And I'm getting on the pod today to discuss the future of the NFL. And that is the Houston Texans. Now, we are here. It's Monday, January 22nd, the afternoon. This will probably go up on Tuesday. So the Texans have lost. They just lost over the weekend. To the Ravens, a game that they played pretty well for the most part, but they just couldn't capitalize on a couple of things, and Baltimore just too good of a team to overcome by not capitalizing on some things. But just capping off a Cinderella run of just an outstanding season from the boys down in Texas. The new boys of Texas there. That's something I just came up with. We'll see how Drew responds to that. But Houston, fantastic season, and I wanted to make this video a little bit later in the season, but they were in that playoff hunt, so I decided to just hold off for now and just see how they do. But an incredible first-year run, and I think every analyst you see talking is going to agree with that. First-year head coach DeMeco Ryans, first-year quarterback C.J. Stroud, that defense doing what it does. Slowick. Sorry, a lot of OC names in my head today. But Slowick just having an absolutely unreal year there, developing that offense with the emergence of Nico Collins and Tank Dell. And I just wanted to take a minute to reflect on what a season that Houston's had. And something that we've been saying on the pod here for a while now is that Houston is going to be here for a long time. I know Texans fans are probably a little eerie. Maybe they're a couple sides of this coin, right? They're probably pretty happy with how their teams performed, amazingly so. And also maybe eerie of kind of this Texans team was similar back in those early years of Deshaun Watson. They some playoff success here and there, but this just feels different. Especially with just the youth on this team, under center. That head coach you got is awesome, and the boys are playing hard. And so I think in the AFC South, that is a division that's up for grabs right now because you got a lot of young teams that are exciting. You got the Texans, who obviously we're talking about how great they've been this year. You got the Colts, who is a solid roster with Anthony Richardson coming back from injury next year. We'll see how they do, but Cam picked them early in the preseason there that they were going to have a good year, and a good shout out from him. He was right on that one. If Anthony Richardson plays all year, who knows what that team does up or down from the quarterback play they got from Gardner Minshew. But you got those two teams. The Titans, they're going to be your bottom dwellers for a while. Head coach search, questions at quarterback, and then the Jaguars, who a lot of people are starting to see the Trevor Lawrence truth, and they're not the truthers, but from what we said a lot in the preseason, Trevor Lawrence not being all that versus people that were saying he's a top 5, top 10 quarterback, we started to see a lot of that this year, and the terrible towel curse lives on. But regardless, we're talking about the Texans. So in that division, a division that they're fully capable of taking for the next handful of years here, and really join that upper echelon of AFC contenders. Take a look at the Bengals, that transition that they made from laughing stock for quite a while in the NFL. I mean, Andy Dalton, Carson Palmer, they were never really taken seriously in those years. They may have had one or two good years kind of splayed out there, but never really taken seriously, and the leadership for that team was never taken seriously. And then you get a shift, and all of a sudden you get your guy at QB, and the NFL is hard enough as it is, but if you have a guy at QB, it gets a whole lot easier. Obviously, they still had some question marks this year, and a lot of those things played out. But Zach Taylor has some question marks about him that a guy like DeMeco Ryans right now doesn't have. That team played great. That roster was built pretty well, and from the preseason, estimations from analysts out there, completely went above and beyond what all expectations were for that team this season. Played fantastic, won the South, beat Cleveland, a really good Cleveland team on paper. They got old quarterback play in that one, but beat a really good team from a roster construction standpoint. So I think the sky is the limit for this team, but especially because you got your guy. at quarterback. You got C.J. Stroud, who, Party Chat Sports, we're going to take a victory lap here. We all said was our QB1 coming into the year with abundant confidence. He was QB1 on all of our boards by far. It was not close. And yeah, so we're just gonna clap it up for Party Chat Sports on that one. But really, it goes to show the situation creates the players in some cases. A guy goes into that organization with D'Amico Ryans doing great things versus a guy that was taken one pick above him, goes into a dysfunctional organization who fires their head coach in the middle of his first year, who the owner is having all sorts of stories talked about him and the culture that he has in that building. You flip those two picks around and maybe you don't see that success from C.J. Stroud. And I think that's a perfectly believable stance. So the player can be really good, but the team also makes the player. And C.J. Stroud he fell into a perfect organization to start to build up. Houston Texans, not been around a really long time, doesn't have that long storied success of some other organizations, but they're going to start to build that. They're going to start to build that right away. Just a team that, like I said, they're joining that group now. So your AFC contenders, Chiefs are going to be in there as long as they got Mahomes. The Bengals are going to be up there talked about every single year. The Bills are going to be talked about every single year. Whether their window is still open or not, I'm sure we'll have further discussions. I, for one, was one that said their window was closed prior to this season. They make it to the divisional round. A lot of people. Let's get this straight right now. The Bills were hot in this last half of the season. They have a lot of turmoil in the middle of the season. Won 5 straight to get to the playoffs. Beat the Steelers in the first round in the wild card. A game the Steelers could have won, but not the point of this video. And then you get the easiest Chiefs team to beat in recent memory, or probably the easiest Mahomes team to beat, and they don't do it. Not Josh Allen's fault. He played great. He did his job. He didn't do enough to win because they did not win the game, but completely fell apart by his teammates. Stephon Diggs, serious questions there. They need a wide receiver one. They need to revamp that wide receiver room. James Cook looks good, but again, didn't have the best game of all time here in that defense, and everyone's getting a year older, and a lot of injuries on that secondary and in that linebacker room. So again, that window that is about that size, the Super Bowl window is closing even faster for the Bills. It'll always be in that conversation as long as they have Josh Allen, but it's closing. So the Texans are joining that group. As soon as next year, they're going to be viewed as serious contenders in the AFC. Stroud, if he makes a year 2 jump, how big of a jump that would be. He's immediately going to be starting in talks of fringe top 5 quarterback in the NFL. He's already top 10 in my book. Some people may not like putting a young guy that high so quickly, but I think he is. I mean, over 4,000 yards, 23 tutties, and 5 interceptions begs to differ. An amazing year from Stroud. Rookie of the year, should be an offensive player of the year talks. I mean, Lamar's going to win the MVP, but you got your guy there, and you got your receivers that are young. Nico Collins, Tank Dell when he comes back from that broken leg. Hopefully he's still got that speed. But you got the building blocks, man. You just start to add pieces to that. If you get a dynamic running back in that room, nothing against Singletary, I believe, but you get a dynamic running back there, and look out. This team's going to be dangerous for a long time. And so really that's what I just, the Texans, man, what a turnaround. They've joined that echelon. So now you got every year the Chiefs, you got the Bills, the Bengals, and you got the Texans. And they're actually all 4 different divisions. So you got your headline teams who's going to be favored for the next little bit. You got another player in that quarterback talk. We always talk about the quarterbacks of decades and everything. Like you had your Bradys and your Mannings and your Breezes and your Roethlisbergers. And now you got your Mahomes, your Allens, your Burrows, and your C.J. Strouds. And look for Tony Romo to be screaming about C.J. Stroud on a TV near you in the upcoming couple of years. But Texans, man, they're joining the future of the NFL here. They're going to be around for years to come. And the AFC just gets even more crowded. So I think that's pretty much the basis of what I got for you here today. I'm sure we'll do some more episodes, probably, another breakdown on the Bills collapse. What did they do? Where do they go from here? Look on the NFC side of things, all those teams I just mentioned are AFC. Those are all AFC teams. So, you got your 49ers who have that Avengers squad. They're going to be around for a while, but what happens when they have to pay Purdy? Do they lose some of those pieces? Do they pay Purdy? What do they do? But NFC right now is just looking wide open for the future, talks here. Like I just mentioned, those 4 teams on the AFC side are going to be talked about for a while. But on the NFC side, what is going to happen? Are the Cowboys on the brink of blowing it up after another collapse next year? Or are the 49ers are going to hang around for a while? We'll see. The Lions would love to hang around for a while. Goff's getting another year older. I don't know, how old even is Goff right now? Let's take a look. I am very curious. You're getting live research on the pod. Goff's 29, so next year he's going to be 30. That's still a lot of time for a quarterback. I mean, you see quarterbacks playing into their mid to late 30s, so he could still be around for a while, but is he still the long-term answer? A lot of Lions fans are going to tell you yes. So we'll see about that. Packers, we'll see. A lot of people are going to be talking about the Packers. I'm not as big of a believer. This is one of those, we've seen this before, i.e., 2015 Panthers. I don't know. We'll see if this Packers team sticks around for good. It's a little bit of a stretch of a comparison, but it's just the first one that popped into my mind for kind of a one-and-done style or very short-term style success. But I don't know. Leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Subscribe to Party Chat Sports. I'm getting to a point where I'm rambling, so I'm going to wrap it up. And yeah, keep a lookout for a pod episode later this week. There's going to be a lot of draft analysis coming your way here in the future. And with that, everyone, playoffs, we're getting close to the end here. Super Bowl around the corner. Look for that Super Bowl parlay episode, and we'll see you all next time. Peace.